Okay, so we're going to talk about how to know if two expressions are equivalent. And you should remember from a previous lesson that expressions can include numbers, they can include variables, and they can include operations. And so you're going to be looking at different expressions and seeing if they are equivalent, which just means equal. And the way we're going to do that is we are going to substitute a number in place of each variable. And for substitute, you can think of it like a substitute teacher. So a substitute teacher takes the place of a teacher for a little bit. And so this number that we're going to use is going to take the place of the variable. And remember that a variable is just a letter that is being used in place of a number. So we're taking out the letter and putting in a number. And then we're going to evaluate. Evaluate is just a fancy math word that means solve. You can technically use any number, but the one that I have found to work the best is the number 2. It's easy to work with, and it's, if we do 547, then that's going to be a lot of math, and so let's just work smarter, not harder. Okay, so this one says, which expression is equivalent to y times 60? So if I cross off the y, I'm going to replace it with 2, because again, we're using 2 as a substitute for the variable, and then we solve it. So 2 times 60 is going to give me 120. And then we're going to do the same thing for all these answer choices. So everywhere where we see a variable, which in this problem is y, we're just going to cross off that variable and change it to a 2. You do have to make sure that you're following the order of operations whenever you're solving these. So it might help you to write GEMDAS out to the side. So we're going to need to do anything that's in parentheses first. So 2 times 55 is 110, and 2 times 5 is 10, and then we can add those together, and that equals 120. That's the number we were looking for. So that's probably our answer choice, but you want to make sure to work out all of them, because sometimes people get 2 that they think are the right answer, and that tells them they definitely made a mistake. So over here, we're going to do what's in the parentheses first, and again, that's going to give us 110. 110 plus 5 gives me 115. That's close to 120, but we're looking for something that's actually equivalent. So it's got to be exactly equal. Okay, over here we do what's in the parentheses first. So 2 times 5 is 10. And then 10 times 55 is going to be 550. That's way bigger than what we were looking for. And then here we do 2 times 5, which is 10. And then we're supposed to add 55 to that, which is going to give us 65. So none of these were equivalent, but A was equivalent. The next question is a little bit different. We're going to use the same strategy, but instead of giving us one in the problem, they just gave us 4 that we need to look at and see which ones come out equivalent. So again, we're going to find a variable. In this case, it's P. And we're going to change all of the p's to be a 2. Be careful right here where you see 3p. That means 3 times p. So I like to put a little multiplication symbol just so I remember. Same thing over here. This is 3 times p. This is 4 times p. Okay, so I've changed all the letter p's to number 2s, because again, we're just using that as a substitute. Then we can actually work it out. So again, we've got to make sure we do what's in the parentheses first. So 2 plus 4 is going to be 6. And then we still have to do the 3 that's being multiplied by that. And 3 times 6 is 18. Then we're going to solve this one. 3 times 2 is 6. And 6 plus 4 is 10. We know those 2 aren't equivalent. So let's test out the other 2. Okay, in this one, again, you do have to make sure that you're following your GEMDAS steps. So there's no grouping symbols or exponents here, but multiplication and division always come before adding and subtracting. So we have to start with the 3 times 2, which is 6. Then we can do the adding and subtracting from left to right. So 15 plus 6 is 21, and 21 minus 3 is 18. So now we know those 2 are equivalent. We can test out the last one. Again, we've got to start with the multiplication, so that's 8. The rest of it is all adding and subtracting, so again, we can just work that left to right. 8 plus 14 is going to give me 22. 22 minus 2 is 20, and 20 minus 2 is 18. So this one, and this one all came out to be 18. So they're all equivalent. The number 3 wasn't, so we definitely don't want to choose these two because they say number 3. And this one only has 2 of them being equivalent when it was all 3 of those. So 1, 2, and 4 were all equivalent.